And so we ask ourselves, will our actions echo across the centuries?
Yeah, so that's how you build a nuclear centrifuge in your basement.
Oh,
It's not hard. I'm telling you. It's not hard. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, I mean,
the hardest part is just get to use grease from Bojangles.
Yeah, dude, that was the hardest part. They defend that shit. Like the homeless dudes behind Bojangles. I mean, look at it this way: you'll send like a 10-man group to go get the grease, and like 4 will come back.
Isn't Grease just John Travolta?
Yeah. He's a greasy Scientologist.
Oh, man. He's on a spaceship.
What were we talking about?
Reminds me of that movie. Battlefield Earth. The one where they have they don't have dreadlocks, but like they have really long hair and it's slicked back, so they have gigantic foreheads. There's a really bad movie about like an L. Ron Hubbard book.
Predator has dreads.
No, but Predator wasn't really like a humanoid like these were. Like these were like they looked like people and they just like changed their eyes or something. So they weren't like they were basically people. But like Predator wasn't a person at all. You took that mask off, dude, and it was fucking you're looking at like the mouth of a crab, dude.
Yeah, I'm way too hungry to be trusted around that. So obviously like the joke is that obviously the joke
that movie
is
came out in 2000.
I've never seen these and stuff. So Prometheus is actually like one of my favorite movies of all time. And it's a prequel to Alien movies, but right now in theaters, I guess that there's like Prometheus 3 series,
Alien Romulus.
Yeah, I kind of want to go see it just because. So last weekend we were at my in-laws, and Prometheus was on TV, and my father-in-law was like, "Oh, I love this movie," and I was like, "I love this movie too." So we were sitting there watching it. Actually, I thought that you were just joking. I was like, "No, I actually really like this movie," and he was telling me, he's like, "Oh yeah, Alien Romulus is in theaters right now. Like it, it's the third part." Because I saw Prometheus 2, which was Alien Covenant, I think. Which was like them all going to this planet and seeing all the aliens and stuff. It was okay. I don't really remember it that well.
Did I ever tell you where I watched Prometheus?
No.
Colombia. I watched it in Spanish.
I was hoping it was going to be so much better than that.
No, I watched it in Spanish in Colombia. Dude, that movie's funny as fucking Spanish. Oh, dude, the movie theaters in foreign countries are some of the funniest things ever, because like they're not ran like they are in the U.S.
Do they still have the problem where certain people just sort of like yell a lot?
No, this was worse. Okay, so the movie was Home on the Range. You know, the one with the cartoon cows.
Oh my god!
So when that was out. My parent. Okay, well, you don't have to see it. Just know this is like an early 2000s animated movie about cows. It's a children's movie, obviously. And in the middle of the screening of that, when we were in Colombia, this was in Bogota. They
is it Bogota or Bogota?
Bogota.
Okay.
It's Bogota. Like the A at the end is the intonation is on the last A. But so they interrupted the movie, like middle of the movie. It wasn't over. And they started selling like timeshares, like in the middle of the movie. Like the lights came on and like some guy walked onto the stage and like he started putting up his PowerPoint and like you just heard like a resounding groan from the audience. I was a child, so I didn't quite understand what was going on, but it was clear that this was not at all what was supposed to happen. It was like the gayest shit. I really wanted to watch that cow movie, and I never got to finish it until years later.
between the rolling blackouts and getting sold timeshares, the movie probably took like 4 hours.
I'll be honest with you, there were no rolling blackouts. There was never, every time I've been in Colombia, there's never been an electricity problem. It's never been an issue. For whatever reason. Like the power grid was sound. But it's the people issue, man. I don't know what compels someone to just be like, I'm going to interrupt this children's movie to advertise. It was just abrupt too. Like I almost thought something was wrong. And then like the motherfuckers just like pulling out like an easel with like pie charts on it. Like, dude, what the fuck, man? But,
It's like, your kids have you trapped here. You're not leaving. I'm going to get you all.
yeah, the fucking asshole. Which is why, you know, we started a terror group.
Solid segue.
What was that supposed to segue into?
So we had terrorism.
Tell us about Lec DC1.
Oh, dude, fuck. That's counterterrorism. That's the opposite.
Yeah, but they go hand in hand. You can't do one without the other.
Of course, if there wasn't terrorism, you wouldn't have counterterrorism. It was the best class I've taken at Darcy. I since you asked, it's still the best.
I owe this so I could take a drink. You don't need to talk about this, actually.
Okay. Well, yeah, there you go. If you want to go take a class at Darcy, Tusk is great if you're not a cop. If you're a cop, just go ahead and try and get into LECTC. It's a pipeline, and it's actual CQB training, not this boutique bullshit you get from like 90% of whoever out there. And it's straight from the horse's mouth. It's original. I mean, you could go watch the Jeff Gerwich video. It was taught. It basically like refined some of the tactics for Sephardic, so you can imagine it's not bullshit.
It's well vetted. Yeah,
it's well vetted. It's been vetted overseas against people that are way more fucking dangerous than anyone you've encountered, more than likely, except maybe for some of you third worlders.
What's the? I already know the answer to this, but actually no. I'm going to rephrase this. I feel like the general guideline is that if they start talking about footwork, just fucking block them, unfollow them, block them. Don't listen to them.
Yeah. There was one thing I do notice about this realm is making mountains out of molehills. So like all the most footwork I've ever heard from someone competent was literally just saying like, don't trip. Like don't overcomplicate it and don't like trip over yourself, and that was it.
Yeah, you should be
if you're
an
gonna,
athlete.
Yeah, you should walk like an athlete. Like you shouldn't be like, don't be weird about it, dude. That's like 99% of it. I mean,
I think a lot of the problems like lie in the fact that like the people that do this stuff and they do it well, like it's not sexy, it's not cool. It's functional and it works.
Yeah.
And I think in an oversaturated market, which is what we have, right? You have to have that whiz bang, glowy thing that makes you stand out from everybody else. And so then we start talking about weird lean and peaks and footwork and
I like the Israeli peekaboo method where they like pop their head out real fast and put it back in to try to like get enhanced situational awareness, and then they go back out the same way they came in. And
that's how you just like trap and hold and like play whack-a-mole with their face.
I think one of the funniest things I saw at LECTC Dispelled was the whole high man, low man. And like you got to, since you're doing it with Sims, like we didn't actually like test it, but like it was just like you were basically prompted, like, go ahead, the next run we do, if you want to try high man, low man, hitting some of these like 90-degree like hallway turns, like go ahead and see how that works for you. Yeah, it does not fucking work. It's shitty. And someone's about to eat like a lot of dick.
I don't. It's probably gonna be you.
Courses.
What?
What's going on at these courses, man? Jeez,
dude, someone's gonna eat a lot of dick. That's just what's gonna happen. That's why you wear the gas mask, so you don't actually touch it with
so you don't inhale it. I think that you were the guy that told me about that. I didn't know what high man low man was, but I sent you that video of the Northern Red, like the that BCM video, the capability of Northern Red from like 2014 or 15 or 16 or something. And they like pop around a corner before they go into this building, and there's like the high man, low man. I didn't even know that there was like a term for that.
You know what? Like, there's a lot of experience in that, in like all those videos and whatnot. And obviously, all the stuff going on in Darcy, like they are getting to refine stuff pretty regularly. But again, it's not sexy stuff, and it's also one of those things too where, like, yeah, like high man, low man may not work in a lot of situations, but there's also times when it does. And the really big thing that kind of sets like the hobbyists apart from the professionals is being able to determine what you need to use, like specifically in that given situation, because you basically are just pulling from your toolbox.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing, that like, that's the problem with a lot of these courses and classes. You know, the whole thing is that they tell you stuff, but they don't necessarily tell you when to use it. And they don't tell you like there's no way to bring out the whole toolbox in a weekend course and lay out every single tool and have people leave with the knowledge of like, okay, this is the best tool for the job. And so,
well, I mean, a lot of it too is a weekend enough time, and it's really not.
It's not at all.
It's not.
And that's like, that's the problem too, that a lot of guys don't understand, is that you know, even like with me, with like groups of guys and stuff, and trying to, you know, even if you're able to do like, say, 1 week in a month, which is a pretty good rate that you're going at, there's still like probably at least a year and a half before you have everybody up to a competent level. And that's with the idea that everybody's able to come out every single week or every single month for that weekend and do
Well,
stuff.
that also takes in, like, you have to bank on people putting in the work on their own. In their own
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the thing too, is that, you know, okay, let's say that you have a set thing, like, okay, I would like to have, you know, 12 guys, right? Or 13 guys. That's like the, you know, not old, but the standard Marine squad for years is 13 guys. So you have 3 fire teams and then a squad leader. And so if your goal is to meet that, eventually within that year and a half, to get everybody spun up to the point where they can be competent and know, hey, this is what we should all do in this situation. And it doesn't need to be explicitly explained to me what we're doing before we do it. You're going to have guys leave. You're going to have guys get kicked out. You're going to have new guys come in. You know, you're going to have to replace guys and stuff. So that year and a half then spreads out, because it's like, okay, well, now these guys that are coming in late, they need to catch up. And either that, or you end up retraining the same exact thing, wasting time by hitting on things that you've already touched on that everybody else knows, minus multiple times. I can't tell you how many times it's like basic patrolling etiquette class, and a lot of the guys that have been around for a little while get kind of sick of it, because they're like, well, we do this every time. And it's like, well, we always have new guys. Like, we have new guys, and these guys left, or these guys can't make it. These guys haven't been able to make it up until, so it's difficult to get that. But that's the benefit of going to like some of these classes and stuff, is that everybody's there for a concentrated amount of time. But then, you know, anybody that I don't know, this all just goes back to how if somebody says like, this is the footwork you need to do, like, you're just, don't listen to them. And Pete, you're actually the guy that I talked to, because I saw a very popular page online talking about that and throwing out the footwork buzzwords. And then I went and I watched a video that I think it was Matt Pranko, when he was in Delta Force, like running into that house doing like the hostage rescue thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, like this totally negates like all the stuff. And you're like, oh,
but that's
yeah,
also like,
it's different, right? Like, because hostage rescue is different than like a combat clear. And like, this is what I mean by
it's all contextual.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you make certain allowances in those situations where, like, if you don't have to rush to your death, then you don't.
Yeah, and versus in hostage rescue, it's like preservation of force. What's that, dude? You just need to get those hostages out. Like, okay,
Absolutely.
cool. You died. That, like, congrats, man. That was what you signed for. I hate to say it. It's kind of the whole thing with you know, I don't start policing till Monday, but I'll say this. One of the things I really don't like to see when departments talk about, it's like officer safety. And I'm like, I understand like contextually what officer safety means. Like of course you don't want your cops to just die over stupid shit, but like you've created this culture of like, you know, we go home and it's like, fuck, man. I mean,
Says you.
like, is that really the best course of action for society? Like for people at large, if it's like, nope, I can't go in because officer safety. It's like, yeah, motherfucker, but there's innocent people dying. Like you're totally ignoring the whole priorities of life, right?
Well, we saw that play out in what was it, Uvalde or whatever?
Yeah, where like you get that mentality happen and it's like, holy shit, dude. Meanwhile, like you see some of these units that actually do conduct hostage rescue and you see how they treat it and it's completely different. It's like, oh fuck, dude, like it's not saying like, oh, it's okay if I die, but it's one of those like I really can't, like, there's no time to dilly dally, there's no time to fuck around. Like, you know, we execute this now. And
I think a lot of the big difference in a lot of those things is you have to make your mind up before you ever find yourself in those situations as to how far you're willing to go, what you're willing to do. So you go into those if you do find yourself in those situations, you're already mentally prepared because your whole entire decision-making processes are basically made up on the mental side of things. Now you're just in the execution phase of what you're doing. And I think if you look at law enforcement, right, like those dudes, they have to do like a whole bunch of different stuff. And so they can go from writing parking tickets 1 minute to, oh man, there's a school shooting going on, and they have to transition. And that can probably be a pretty hard shift. Whereas like you look at like special missions units, even just SOF in general, or even just the military in general, or SWAT teams, like they have a very specific task that they can train towards and like mentally inoculate themselves towards.
True. That's true.
And I think that goes back to what Tyler was saying is like you get one weekend a month, which, yeah, that might be great, but there is a reason why we do have like standing militaries, and those guys, I'm sure they wish they could train better or more often. Like they do it as a profession, and that definitely shows.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't even put it into words how much it bothers me, like how many of these pages start doing the instructional stuff. And mind you, there are some guys out there and some different companies and stuff that are really good. Like I haven't taken any courses from them. I probably will at some point, but I'm trying to not leave for a little while. But Keystone Dynamics, he's out of Pennsylvania. He's a pretty good guy, and he seems like he's got a pretty solid team. And he's sent me some stuff, and like I've seen videos of them doing stuff, and he also like hates all the same stuff that we generally do. So I can assume that he's a pretty good guy. So I would say to check them out.
Yeah, I've talked to him a little bit. He seems pretty on the money. Him and like even there's groups like, what is it, the First Alpha Co?
Yeah.
Those dudes. I mean, obviously they have a background that they bring a lot of expertise to the table. But Keystone Dynamics, those guys for First Alpha Co or whatever, and there's a handful of other guys.
It's crazy. It's crazy how the some of these groups that are ran by vets and experienced dudes are doing well. I mean, one of the things that grated me about the online community is like how you know how trends happen, but sometimes people just stay in a trend and they never leave, or they never realize like why people change their mind. Like they never grow from it. It's like, imagine if you just got stunted at like age like 14 and you just were a 14-year-old forever.
Oh God.
But so you'll see like when you saw the big backlash against like bro vets or whatever, and it's like I understand what you're saying, and trust me, I don't care much for pages that are just using their 4 years of service as like this end all be all, like, hey, I did this and I am I am going to teach you how to survive in the streets, and you have to give me money and buy my t-shirt and wear my condom and all this other shit. And like you're I don't even have to say them. Like you can
A
already
very
imagine.
holistic approach.
But so you get your super bro vets, and of course, you know, a lot of regular people, non-veterans, non-law enforcement, whatever, you know, smelled it for the bullshit it was, which I get. But then you ended up with the mindset that like, oh well, vets didn't do shit while in, and it's like, dude, I would not fucking like. I've seen some people say that shit, and I'm like, I would not put that thought into like writing, and I would not even keep that thought in your brain for a while. Like there's a lot of assumption from the outside looking in about what people did. Everyone in this talk right now has been in the military, so like, you know, I'm preaching to the choir. But like you know, just because there's a lot of goofy ass vets doesn't mean that there's not also a fuck ton of dudes with like experience that's 100% pertinent to what you want. Like, yeah, well, dude, like
the thing with that too is that like, you know, you'll see the joke a lot of like, oh, like vets haven't won a war in you know however many years, but practical difference between the strategic thing and all that stuff, like politicians throwing in the rag on something or politicians making poor decisions on what to do isn't the same reflection as the guys that are on the ground actually like doing the work. And you know, like there's a lot of side effects or like passive skills that you learn from being a veteran. Like there was a thing recently too about talking about like snipers, right? I think that like Rob Ski from AK Operators Union said something that bothered a bunch of people, but I don't know what it was or anything.
I think it was basically like, unless you went to like sniper school at Benning or whatever it was, then you can't call yourself a sniper or something.
Oh, okay. Effect. But the thing too is that like I know a guy who he was a Marine sniper. So he was an 0317, like actual Marine Corps Scout sniper. So he was an infantryman, became a pig, did all that stuff, went to sniper school, passed, and then was a sniper. And he does PRS shoots, and he's like very, very, very good at PRS shooting. And he ends up winning a lot of the matches that, from what I understand, he ends up winning a lot of the matches that are in very poor weather conditions, because a lot of the PRS shooters who are also very good shooters, like obviously this guy is shooting, but he's toward the top. He's like within the top 50, I think, in the country or the world or whatever. But he ends up doing very well because a lot of these guys can't stay disciplined when the rain's coming and the weather's bad and all that stuff. And he's like, well, I've had worse experiences before. And he just, you know, continues going. So when the bad weather comes up and stuff like that, and that's a lot of the like passive skills that guys get from being in or with the infantry, because I'm not infantry, right? You guys both are. But you still get like those same kind of skills where it's like, okay, well, you're still staying in the field for a long time. You're still in these terrible conditions and expected to perform.
Well, I mean, a lot of the military too is you learn about yourself, right? And odds are you're joining out of high school, so you learn about yourself at a formative age where, you know, Pete, you and I were talking about this earlier today.
Yeah.
In a different context, but it's one of those, like, it's such a groundbreaking experience and you learn so much about yourself that, like, it does fundamentally change you. And even just that, it's like the whole idea that, like, criminals are better insurgents than like most of the dudes that are actually training to be an insurgent. And it's because like they're just exposed to already harsh things and they're just kind of like, okay, whatever, like I can, like, this is nothing new, you know?
Yeah.
It's easier for them to roll into it versus like the, you know, the white bread, easy life, go to college, do all this stuff. And I'm not saying that those people aren't also capable. I mean, clearly they can get a lot done if they set their mind to it.
Well, there's a baseline understanding when you talk to somebody who's like, oh yeah, sorry, who's like, oh yeah, I was in the Army or I was in the Marine Corps, I would even like Navy Force, whatever, where you in that automatically compared to the average person that grew up in a middle class environment per se, they've been able to push through uncomfortable, discomfort to a certain degree. And you know, when you start,
they're at a baseline.
Exactly. You start talking to them more, and then you figure out like, oh, okay, you did this and that and this course and that stuff, and oh, here, you end up sharing stories or whatever. It is inevitable whenever you get two guys together. They end up start talking about stories of how rough they have it at certain times. But
Yeah, back in my day, we had to shave with sandpaper.
yeah, literally. You guys got sandpaper. We had spoons, kind of thing.
You had spoons. We just had to rub the hair off with our bare callous hands.
Yeah, we had
You guys
calluses.
shave?
We weren't soft like you guys. But that's you understand that there's like a baseline of like, okay, this person can withstand some discomfort, and then other people, they're like, oh, unless I've had my exact morning routine, I can't function. And you're like, okay, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think one of the fundamentals that you kind of pick up on in the military, being okay, not being okay, right? Like being, and that's like 100% an exposure thing. I think people, peer to peer can maybe have an elevated ability to handle discomfort, but at a certain point, you just have to go suck. Like you have to go be miserable, and then come out the other side and be like, all right, like I can do that if I have to. Because like Joe was saying, like you learn a lot about yourself. You have so many different exposure points, like whether it be schools or courses or deployments or training exercises or whatever that puts you outside your comfort zone. And every time you're outside that comfort zone, you're just constantly building your comfort zone even bigger at that point. So again, it's just being comfortable, being uncomfortable. And I just don't think that your average person in your online group get those kind of exposures.
Which is why it's all the remarkable when you do see those groups that do it.
But again, it's a lot of those groups have guys bringing those kind of experiences and understandings to the table. And I mean, like, you can pass a lot of that knowledge and understanding off. They might not like fully understand it, but if you tell somebody ahead of time, like, hey, look, this is gonna suck, but you're gonna be able to do this, versus they have no clue and they're going into it blind. I mean, I think you can pick up and elevate people around you, even if they haven't necessarily had the exposures. But again, going back to the whole like bro vet thing, there was that whole phase where like everybody was just kind of like poo-pooing and shitting on dudes with experience, and that's just a bad look.
It's a really bad look. It's like, it's counterproductive. It's like, I mean, like, yeah, you know, everyone loves to make the joke like, haha, you were in Afghanistan on FOB cleanup, but there were a lot of guys who were in Afghanistan fighting for their fucking lives for a whole year for some fucking no-name valley. Like, like dudes getting blown up, mortared every day, fucking dudes firing your like daily, your like annual round budget in like a day.
And the thing too is that there's both sides, right? Like there's the side of guys who have gone on a deployment to Afghanistan or wherever, and that's what they write out for their entire lives. And they're like, oh, I was deployed in 2009. So I'm like, well, you know, things have changed, things have progressed. Like obviously you doing that gives a baseline understanding that you know, you've gone through certain things, or that you are capable of certain things, or that, you know, obviously, like, you know, it gives like a baseline understanding.
Mm-hmm.
But then you also have the guys that on the opposite side who have like it became trendy for a little bit. I don't know if it still is or in what degree it is, but it became trendy to say like, oh, like if you're in the military, like you suck. It's like, well, what do you mean? Because you know, you say that, but then all the courses that you want to take, you only want to take from guys that were in the military.
Yeah.
And those are really defined. And so obviously there's shitbags that are in the military at any given point to any degree. And Pete, we were talking about this one time that, you know, you'll look at the next, like, oh, like those guys are super locked on. And then you'll get to that level and you'll be like, oh, these guys, there's still a bunch of fucking idiots here, or guys that I don't really want to be with. Like the next level will probably have it. And then you get to the next level and you're like, oh, this has it too. Like they're always there. Obviously the lowest tier guy at the top of the tree is still better than the lowest tier guy or the bottom. But you know, there's so many guys and so many different things. And I think that the problem is that you, to circle back all the way, is that you have these like guys that are trying to start training companies and stuff like that on Instagram, because that's what is easy money. Because you have so many people that, because they weren't in the military, they don't have, not to shit on them, but they don't have that baseline understanding and that context and everything. So they don't know who's like a good person to invest money into. And they don't know who's like, credible with what they say, because they have no frame of reference. So then you get these guys talking about like CQB stuff, and they're like, you look at their entire background, and they were only a cop for like 5 years, and they miraculously somehow became like SWAT magic CQB man within that 5 years. And you talk to other cops, and they're like, yeah, that's pretty unlikely. And then they rip off other companies' courses and stuff, and then you spend a ton of money to get a course from them. It's like, you're really not doing yourself or anybody else any favors, because that's just helping them continue their grift.
Yeah,
I mean, you give anybody a Knight's Armament rifle, a JPC, and dual tube nods, and they look the part. And there's enough information out there that you can kind of like BS your way through it.
You can fake the funk.
Mm-hmm.
It's never been easier to fake the funk. And then it's social media, right? You never see the bad. You never, like, unless someone filmed their entire training exercise and it was like a legit, like, hey, this is like, we're doing a stick slaying on like an ambush or something, and you don't see the failures and shit, then you're just never going to see them fail. If you don't see someone fail, then they're infallible.
Well, I mean, even at the highest levels, I mean, after a run, we'd stop. And I mean, we're talking doing the same thing day in, day out, like all the time, deploying and doing it, training and doing it, and you still mess things up. There's still things that you can fix. That, like you make a bad shot, and then you have to like kind of get locked back in and get back out on the flat range and do stuff. And like at the highest levels, we need to watch professional sports. Like, those dudes make mistakes. Everybody.
Is he just cutting out for me, or
No,
infallible?
Okay, cool.
Am I cutting out?
Yeah, a little bit. I was afraid that it was my internet going to shit.
Oh, my bad.
But it's yours.
No,
so
I mean, it's just one of those things where. Yeah, that's fair. I'll just go fuck myself. I blame you on that.
I'll just disconnect myself forever.
Is that the new unalive phrase? I'm just gonna go unplug.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm gonna start telling people, like, dude, if you fucking say some shit like that again, I'm just gonna paint the ceiling with my brains.
I'm gonna redecorate.
I'm about to fucking paint this room red.
I'm gonna have any.
Yeah, I'm gonna fucking.
You see your old friends 9 years ago.
I'm gonna give my brain some air.
Gonna turn my brain into a bear shade.
What the fuck?
For Gile, I think it's Italian.
Yeah. Fuck, what was I gonna say?
I don't care.
Do y'all see? Yeah, fuck, me neither. Did y'all see that video going around about those Venezuelans like kicking down a door or trying to kick down a door in like Colorado?
No, what?
And like, okay, so there's
what in Colorado? Is that like
so? No, because that's actually real. I can't tell if this is real or not. Although the mayor and the police have both commented on it, and they're saying completely different things. So
has AI gone too far?
To each other. No, so there's a video, and it's like someone's Ring camera in an apartment, and they're looking at the apartments across the hall from them.
Oh, I saw
and
that.
There's like 4 or 5 Venezuelans like roll up, and one's got an AR with a scope on it. You know, real CQB sniper energy. But you know, it's still a gun, so the respect where it's merited. But they roll up and they're trying to like kick that. Like, I don't think they're kicking down the door, but they're knocking on it. Like they're trying to get whoever the fuck is in there out.
Yeah, the person just opened the door too.
Well, he probably knew what the fuck he did.
That's fair.
I mean, but they're rolling up to this, and so the caption that's been going around with it, and here's the problem with the internet nowadays, is who the fuck knows what's real and what's not. But the caption around it is going on about how the Venezuelan gang train of somewhere has taken over an apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado, or some shit, and how the police haven't responded to it, and they de facto control parts of the town. And it's like, it's a very like bold statement for that caption to make, which is why I'm questioning it. And so then the police, the Aurora police, say that there's no indication that this is going on, but then the mayor's saying that, like, yeah, we're looking into it and we're doing everything we can to remedy the situation. And it's like, okay, so what the fuck's going on? But I mean,
bet it's payback for those like former Green Berets trying to incite revolution down in Venezuela.
Dude,
That stuff is crazy.
How did? All right, you gotta say it. Did you know those motherfuckers?
I did not know.
Did anyone? I want to know someone who knew them.
You know what? I've talked to a bunch of people. Nobody knows anybody.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. I would never. I would want to say I knew him either. I would. It's
a really bad look.
Like, oh yeah, no, man. Yeah, like imagine going out and saying like, oh yeah, those dudes were in my fucking ODA, or hey, they were in my fucking Q course. Like, I don't know if you want to say that, dude.
They just thought they were in like a training exercise.
Yeah, no, dude read one executive outcomes fucking book, and he's like, I can do it. That's me.
I am him.
I wish they had succeeded.
Has Robin Sage gone too far?
No, it hasn't gone far enough.
Dude, my favorite thing ever is every year when all of like the super paranoid boomers on Facebook are like, this is it, the US government is gonna incite violence against citizens because of Robin Sage. And you're like, it's the opposite.
Motherfucker, they gave the citizens guns.
Yeah, they literally trained them how to overthrow a government.
No,
that's
but the funniest
like
thing
Raven X too. It's the same.
The funniest thing about the whole thing is like, yeah, I'm sure they're gonna let Rick McDonald from fucking bumfuck Iowa. I'm sure he's the arbiter of the news for this, and I'm sure they're totally not gonna control any social media if they were planning on doing something like that. Like,
man of the high castle.
He is.
With the age of the internet and like how everything works now, is that it's super easy to censor stuff. For you, maybe. I still can't get over the smell.
Jesus. That's horrible. I'm no longer interested in this conversation.
All right, so hey, it's a good chat, guys.
Hey, later. Where were you going with that? Where are you going? It's because of the internet.
It's really easy to censor stuff. That's
it. No, dude. If they were doing something, you would never hear about it. You would just look out your window and they'd fucking be there. Like, oh, there was
that thing recently about.
You might get a warning. You might get a warning like an hour prior. That's about it. What?
There was this thing that came out where there was like an ODA exercise where they hijacked Wi-Fi to a home security system, and then
there's a whole facility. Yeah, there's 2 ODAs. I just saw that come out too. There's a training exercise in some European country. I forget which one.
Probably Poland or Romania.
Yeah, I forget. I just saw it earlier.
I don't know, like what.
No, I mean it's one of those things where like the capabilities are changing, right? I mean, there's considerations now that didn't exist 10 years ago, but then you have on the opposite end of the spectrum, you have like what's going on in Ukraine, which that just kind of seems pretty honestly bare bones, if you will, aside from like the drones and stuff. But yeah, no, there's a lot of interesting stuff that's going on.
Fuck.
I'm looking for it right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's cool. There's probably other units that have been doing that for a while. Just punching the air right now, like, fuck, we've been doing that for years, you assholes. But,
so the entire purpose of us all talking was actually Gio's idea, and he claims
allegedly.
He claims it wasn't his idea. But when I find you, I'm going to put a gun in your mouth and tell you that it was your idea.
Yeah. The whole conversation is going to be about hating on A10 Crocs.
Yeah, no, that was
no,
true.
not
though.
A10
The
Croc.
A10
no.
Croc is an abomination.
So here's oh shit, I just dropped my little radio adapter thing. Anyway, quick spiel before we get on to the actual topic. I see a lot of people on the internet say that the aircraft are existing. And I want to say that you're wrong. The A-10 is one of the best aircraft that has ever been made. And the close air support capabilities of the A-10 is unmatched. Even the F-35 can't match it. The F-22 can't match it. And everybody says, "Oh, it's slow," but going slow when you're doing a what?
Fucking Super Tucano, it's coming for you.
No, dude. The if they made like a Super A10, like an A11, that
Jesus Christ, they need the A10. You know what's
Plus
crazy?
P.
Is the A10. The A10.
yeah, A10 plus P plus.
No, isn't the A10 like already the Thunderbolt 2?
I don't know actually.
I
don't think that it is. I don't.
Yeah, it is. The Fairchild Republic A10 Thunderbolt 2. So it's already 2. So we need the Thunderbolt 3.
Yeah, the
I'm gonna look at the A11 jet.
The A10.
Oh God, you don't want that.
No, the A11 is actually a joke, just because it's one above A10.
What's a real jet?
They would have to make it like literally A10 plus P plus. I can't say that.
Hollow point, the A10 plus P plus hollow.
Yeah, point. the hollow points with the green beam on that gun.
Hornady black written on the side.
Dude, everybody's like, oh, it's slow. But then like they faced off a bunch of stuff against the A10 because the Air Force said that the F-35 could replace the A10. Everything failed against it doing close air support. You're not gonna take the most state-of-the-art aircraft and make it do close air support if you don't have air superiority already. And if you have air superiority, you might as well just send an A10. Like, there's so many holes in these arguments against the A10. But anyway, what I wanted to say was that the whole purpose that Gio brought up, that if he denies, I'm going to end it right now, is that he wanted to start talking about like how he wanted to talk about how revolutions start and that whole thing, which I don't know anything about, so I'm going to shut up now.
So you know what's interesting is we've had quite a few in the past year or the past few years, at least since we started the podcast. There's been quite a few insurgencies that have failed. The most recent one I can think of is the one in Venezuela, which, funny enough, we were just talking about Green Berets in Venezuela. But that recent little kerfuffle with their election, that was like a month ago, maybe. Dude, it fizzled out. It was nothing. There were like gangs, like getting into gunfights with the police, and then just as quickly it lost energy. So, there's to this day, it's still probably my favorite document someone sent me. I had no idea it existed, but it was it was a weird, like, internal JSOC publication or whatever that's totally free to read. It's like declassified or whatever. I don't think it was ever classified, but it was like thresholds of violence or something like that. And I will never remember what the exact like organization was that posted it. But it's, if you want to find it, it's on the MEUSOC website. So, have fun. That's soc.mil. It's on there. But it talks about terrorism, right? And it's still my favorite fucking read because
topic.
No, it's my favorite topic. I fucking love reading about terrorism, dude. It's so interesting. But it talks about
it's so inspiring.
We've spoken about it before. The whole like, there's different ways that terrorists do their thing. But like, one of the things it does talk about early on is like most of these movements fail pretty quickly. So you really do need like the perfect storm of support, both internal and external ability, opportunity, and then like funding, like stuff. Like there really needs to be a perfect storm of a lot of things. You need the political backing. You need political like
pull.
No, what's the word? You just like political backing, I guess would be it. But you need like support. Like you need like your soft wing literally needs to be like, I can't condemn that because that's just how they feel. Like literally when your political party stops condemning terrorism, kind of like certain political parties in the U.S. That's how you know that you're supporting an insurgency. Okay, ARIS. Okay, it's assessing revolutionary and insurgent strategies. That's the umbrella that the Threshold of Violence pub comes from.
Jot that down, folks.
From the United States Army Special Operations Command. So you know it's all made up. There's actual names here too. I'm sure everyone would love to read about the Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Lab. Whoa, what? Okay, that's weird. United States Army Special Operations Command and the Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Laboratory. What does the physics lab have to do with
John
terrorism?
Oliver?
No, not John Oliver, motherfucker. You moron. It's funny.
Well, like going back to what you were saying, though, there kind of has to be a perfect storm, right? Like you have to have all your ducks in a row to a certain extent in order for anything to work. And you have to have all sorts of different networks built out. You have to have like an action arm. You have to have a supporting auxiliary element that has direct contact with your action arm. Then you have to have an underground. That's where like you have shadow governments, which are like political figures that are already in the system that are, feeding information or prepared to step up into certain positions, when push comes to shove. But again, like you were saying, though, like a lot of these movements burn out really quickly because it's a bunch of dudes in their mom's basement that are like, we need change. But that motivation goes really, really quick. When you start like sitting out in the rain with your buddies in the woods for like weeks on end, and you're like,
not me.
Sucks.
Well, the other thing too is violence without propaganda is just violence, right? Like, so if you do, let's say you're a group and you've decided this is it, the line has been crossed, we are going to conduct direct action. And you go and you go find a police or military checkpoint because they declared martial law and you fucking blast those dudes. I mean, if no one hears it, one, it didn't happen. So you have to record it. You already have to have proof that you did it. And then two, you have to disseminate it. And then it has to be for an aim, right? So everything you do, and this whole Threshold of Violence document really goes into like, what are the 5 tactics terrorists use to get what they want? And how like a lot of times it's very roundabout. Like you'll be very brutal during negotiations, as an example, just to be able to force concessions somewhere else. It's a calculated game. But like, if you're just a group that's like, I'm just going to go and start hitting targets, it's like, yeah, but if you don't show, hey, there's a group out here hitting targets, they're just going to hide that it happened. And if they hid that it happened, then it never fucking happened. But if you can prove, even if they try to hide it, but you've already put out the proof, like, hey, we fucking, we took down this checkpoint, this illegal checkpoint, these are their fucking badge numbers, or these are their whatever national IDs, and we took over this in the name of the fucking Pineland Atropian Liberation Front. Then like, dude, there you go, man. There's your fucking money. That might embolden other people, but like a lot of this stuff, it's got to just keep going. It's
so
like
what barrel length do I need?
All of them.
50 foot barrel.
6
That thing
inches.
needs to be a howitzer.
That is the king of battle.
It's an artillery piece. You have to tow it from a Humvee, and it's just a 50-inch long fucking 5.56 barrel on like a grip pod.
On the grip pod is the real meta.
But
if I can interject real fast,
dude,
I think
ahead,
one of the big things too is you have to know what comes next, right? You have to have a plan, because everything you see, everybody always has grievances. But I mean, okay, I don't make enough money. This person doesn't like vanilla ice cream. I mean, you name whatever it is. I don't like the government, or whatever you want to say it is. It's fine to have grievances, but what's your plan to fix it? What comes next? After the last shot is fired, then what? If you don't have a plan for what comes next, then why even get started, right?
yeah.
That's what I see all over the internet. That's where I see a lot of these other smaller groups that you were talking about that kind of fail. It's like they always have grievances, they always have issues that they want addressed, but how do they address them? It's
one of my favorite things, and kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier in the military. It's like, don't come to me with the problem, come to me with the solution.
Absolutely.
Don't show up telling me like, hey, the fucking thing is leaking. Come and tell me like, hey, the thing was leaking, so I called a plumber, or I tried fucking fixing it myself with a wrench, or do that. That's so much better than just coming and being like, yeah, no, the pipe's leaking, I don't know what to do. Like,
oh hell no, his thing leaking.
You freak. His thing leaking in formation. Dude, okay, I don't know why that reminded me. My buddy swears. One of my buddies told me that he was in a formation at Bragg. I think it was in Bragg. And for whatever reason, it was like a change of command that someone grabbed one of their M4s and just shot the fucking CO.
What?
I've never heard of it. I've never seen proof, but
That's not real.
No, that actually happened. That actually happened.
Yes. Yes,
yeah,
he was
that
right.
I forget what year that was.
My buddy was like Lurse or some shit at the time. And it was it was a huge formation. It was like it was either brigade or like not division.
I think they shot like a colonel or a lieutenant.
Yeah. It was like it was like a serious dude. Fucking just showed up with his M4, pulled it out of the army, and just fucking went to work on the office.
Yeah, that was a huge deal.
His thing leaking in formation. Yeah, his fucking head, dude. He shot him. Good Lord. That's fucking nuts. I'm glad someone could corroborate that story, because I've never like looked into it. I just always believed it because it never seemed like something he would lie to me about. And he's just like, yeah, dude, when we were there, someone just went and shot the fucking CO.
Yeah.
But why?
Fucking nuts. Because he didn't like him. What do you mean?
I forget what the story was.
You send a dude. You send a dude to the field to fucking deliver MREs one too many times. I guess it just hits different. I don't know,
dude.
Why does anyone do anything?
Reminds me.
I want to smoke 49 feet away from the building.
When I first joined my unit, there was a guy who shortly after I joined, he lost his security clearance because he was in like insane amounts of debt. And
the best.
He was pissed because they wouldn't let him do anything, which, mind you, he was also a radio operator. So like you're really not supposed to touch radios. You can't program them. You can't go in the radio cage or anything without at least like a secret clearance. And so he didn't have any clearance. And he was like, they always put me on gate guard. This sucks. And it's like, well, you are the one that got yourself in this situation. And you're the reason why you don't have a security clearance anymore. What were they supposed to do after you lost it? But
yeah,
it kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah. So he shot the colonel?
No. He just got out.
Yeah, without shooting any officers.
He just got out as an E3.
Yeah, true. Honorable.
Yeah, definitely. That was very honorable.
Fuck, we were talking about something way more relevant and important before.
I wasn't paying attention.
His thing leaking was just too fucking funny. Yeah, dude, these groups fizzle out. I mean, it's just like, I guess that's the problem too. If you hedge your bets too hard on like a criminal enterprise, it's like, okay, well, we're just going to go back to business as usual because we like making money. Like there still has to be some leveraging of that thing. I'd say that like dudes that want to talk about like, oh, well, we're going to withstand some tyrannical government. You really do just have to be friends with everyone. It goes back to like something that I tell people all the time. There's really nothing quite like the gift of gab and like knowing a lot of people and kind of being on good terms with everyone. It really does just get you so goddamn far.
Well, that's like one of the best pieces of advice. And I may have told you guys this before, like that I ever got was from an instructor in the Q course. I think it's actually right before Robin Sage. Yeah, instructor Zero. Absolutely.
I love Italy.
If you don't have a giant shot timer, then who even are you?
So true.
I like when he
basically,
does these
this dude
super
said, like,
fast drills, and then you hear some Italian guy go 3.12.
Dude, I haven't watched an Instructor Zero video since like,
He's still alive.
yeah, I think. I don't know.
But this dude said, show up to the barbecue knowing nobody and leave invited back. And that's the kind of charisma that you really do have to have for a lot of this stuff to actually work.
Yeah, no, I mean that's fucking, that makes sense. I mean, I've said it before, like you, and the problem is like the dudes that are charismatic might not always be the dudes that are appropriate, because you get a lot of grit. You know, a con man is just as charismatic as a politician, and like how do you discern which one is, you know, an honorable dude versus a shitty asshole? It's a fun time. Everyone's always got problems with that, though. But yeah, but what I'm going with that is like, you know, if you are the man running, you're the puppet master running your little insurgency or whatever, and you aren't courting all these different groups, like you can't just put all your money on red, you know. You gotta go, okay, cool, these gangs, yeah, they're doing this stuff, maybe I should reach out to them. Okay, but maybe I should try and create my own little small whatever fucking task force to go and, you know, push the envelope a little bit. But
I mean,
at the end of the day,
the truth of the matter is that most of these groups that you see online, in any sort of conflict, they're going to be run by somebody that's not online, that's not pushing stuff. Like, we all want to have this like quote unquote main character energy. We all want to be that like super important person. But the truth of it is like you're probably going to be hopping into somebody else's like vision and playing your part in that.
Yeah. That's just how it goes, man. That's just the reality of the situation. And sometimes it's not even going to be someone you like, but, you know, you're always going to have grievances with everyone. I don't think I've ever met a good leader that was perfect. I've never met anyone that's perfect, but like, at least in the military, I haven't met any leader that was like perfect. Yeah, true. When we're storming fucking, I don't know, Cock Avenue. I don't even know what to say to that.
Why'd you even say that?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's it's just that the entire frontal lobe is thinking about that. So
about Cock
Avenue.
He
said it. That's
yeah.
Next, he's going to be hanging out in like dick and ball.
What?
Yeah, you cut out, so nobody knows.
Oh, I said next thing you know, you're going to be hanging out in the corner of Dick and Ball Court.
Dick and Ball Court. I don't know, man. Why do things always sound funnier when you add like some fucking just perverted angle to it? It's just funny. I don't know, man. I don't invent humor. I just look at things and I find them funny. Sometimes I say them. Sometimes the thought pops in my head and it comes out as words, and it shouldn't. But other times it shouldn't come out, but it's just so funny that it's okay. Well, sometimes you get a pass.
That's what's funny is that like Arthur is, but she thinks that farts are funny, and I think that farts are funny, and so it's just one of those things that transcends.
You have a 3-year-old.
Yeah, either I have the humor of a 3-year-old, or 3-year-old has the humor of a 30-year-old, or farts just transcend time in terms of being fun.
I bet you can't guess what I have on my desk right now. I was about to say what I'm playing with.
Coins.
Right
You're
now,
about to
like,
start throwing fucking coins.
A bottle full of farts.
No. You'll never guess. But I'll let you have one guess as a treat.
Coins.
If one of you guys can guess, I'll fucking kill myself. Not really, but I'll fucking lose it.
Not your Winkler, because you can't get that in your country.
No, I have one, but that's That's not the case. It's nothing lethal. It's a blast from the past, though. I have in my hands a Contour Roam 2 1080p HD action camera.
That
One
was
of the
my
best
next
cameras
guess.
ever made.
Yeah, I bet it was your next guess. And this is the best fucking camera ever made. The fact that this thing isn't still made is tragic.
The fact that it had the aiming laser so you could see what you were looking at was awesome. Such a good design.
Yeah. Mine is like taped up. It's got Velcro on it. It's got an arc rail adapter. Like this thing is fucking the tits, dude. I need to find a charger for it. I need to bring it back to life. I don't care if it's 1080p, whatever. Well, it's got a memory card in it. I wonder what's on there. But tell us about JTAC school. I'm tired of talking.
JTAC school. What do you want to know about it?
Yeah, what do you guys eat for lunch?
I mostly went to the chow hall because it was the cheapest thing. $7 goes kind of far.
How many days did you have to go to class before they let you fly?
I've never flown in my life.
Coward.
No, there was a Panda Express on base, so that was okay. There was a Starbucks. I got that a couple times on the late days. Put it all on my GTCC, which I still haven't paid off yet because they told me that they're not going to pay.
Taxpayer's a bitch, right?
Well, no, because they told me they're not going to pay for my.
Fuck the taxpayer, huh?
They said that they weren't going to pay for my $1,200 airport parking fee.
What?
So I need.
How much was it?
Yeah,
$1,200.
Motherfucker, what'd you do?
She like
Did you park on
valet
the
parking?
tarmac?
I parked my car there for a few days, and next thing you know, it's $1,200.
A few days, motherfucker. It's not, dude. I've been to many airports. I've done long-term parking at a few. Motherfucker, $1,200. What'd you do?
It's $300 a day, and I was there for 30-something days.
What the? Fuck?
How much a day?
$30.
Dude, your numbers are all fucked up, dude. I'm retarded and I even know that you're wrong.
We have the receipt right here.
Well, yeah, what does it say?
It says that it costs $1,200 to park my ass in the fucking terminal for 30-something days.
That's insane.
You just parked in short-term parking for 30 days.
No, I parked in the long-term parking. Dude. I parked in long-term and international parking. I don't make the prices. I just drive. So it's not my fault that they want to charge.
Did you tell them you were a United States Marine and you were better than them?
No, but I probably should have. Although when I got back, I was really far from the parking for some reason, and the bags that I have. So I have like 2 duffel bags, and then my like normal backpack. So I was just hauling around these bags by the handles on them because I didn't have the shoulder straps or whatever. So I'm just like, muscling these shitty duffel bags that have 30 days worth of crap in them. Plus, when I was down there, I got a really good deal on Solomon's and stuff because I was close to the Off Base store. If you've never heard of that website, offbase.co, they're pretty good, but they offer a discount inside the store. So I bought some Solomon's, and anyway, long story short, I had a bunch of heavy stuff I was carrying. And I went outside, and I was I was like 2 miles from my car, and I didn't know what to do. And I walked up to a nice man who was probably from some Middle Eastern country, and his cousin probably died in a suicide bombing incident. And he drove me to the airport, and it was very nice. And then, yeah, and then I was like, I didn't have any cash on me, so I was like, "Oh, do you have any Venmo or anything?" And he was like, "Yeah." And he shows me his Venmo, so I gave him like $5 or $10 or whatever for driving me around, and the Venmo had like a woman in a full, like, not the hijab but the thing that covers everything,
the
like
burqa.
minus the eyes, and I was like, all right.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah. So
Look at you just sponsoring terrorism.
that's how I got back.
I love
Honestly,
terrorism.
I probably donated $10 toward the next suicide bomb.
It's okay. It could be worse. Your taxes have gone way worse.
I
Yeah,
thought
like
you were going to say you
$1,200
asked him to watch your back.
at the
Yeah, the fucking 400 billion to the Taliban.
yeah.
All right, I'm going to talk about geopolitics for a second.
Do it.
Has anyone been following the Ukrainian incursion into Kursk?
Yes.
Okay, that's very interesting. I don't disagree with it. I just don't think there was quite the. I thought it was a great idea, but it goes back to the whole like you should have a plan for what comes after, and I don't think it either hasn't happened yet or it wasn't thought of because I don't feel like they've done anything with it.
Well, so actually, what's the guy's name? Peter Zeihan, the geopolitical guy. He has some pretty interesting breakdowns on it, but and I don't remember the name of the other city, but there's a major city. It starts with a B, I think. That's also right on the border, and it's a huge military hub for everything coming into Ukraine, and it's adjacent to the Kursk region. And so if they can basically knock out that major military hub, that does stop a lot of the flow coming into Ukraine. Like I think the oil refinery that's there, or their oil reserves that are there, or fuel or whatever, has been burning for like days and days at this point.
No, now they're not going to have refined oil. Not my refined oil.
No, my refined oil.
Just avocado oil for days.
Have you seen those videos where the guy, I don't know who his name is, but he'll like drop stuff and be like, no, not my feminist literature. Not my feminist literature. And he like picks it up. And it's just funny. Anyway, you'll have to look it up. He does it on like feminist literature. He does it on like spirit crystals and tarot cards.
Just casting a wide net.
Yeah, it's funny.
Boy, just dropping everything. But yeah, I mean the Ukrainian incursion. I mean, like, there's two schools of thought, right? The pro-Russian thought or whatever is like, it's a waste of men. It's too little, too late. This or that. I can kind of, I don't know. At the end of the day, we only know what we're told and what we hear, and everything else is speculation. But like, in my opinion, this would have been more useful a lot longer time ago when you had probably had a bigger operational reserve. I don't know how their numbers are doing, but I can't imagine that after 2 years of constant warfare, the Ukrainian military.
Are they drafting like 68-year-old men?
I mean, they're drafting a lot of people, but I can't imagine you having a significant operational reserve left to do something audacious like that. But I mean, the fact that they did something audacious is like, oh, I totally agree with that. Like sitting and waiting to die in a trench is gay. But
You
like
say a lot of words like you read
sneaking
books.
around.
Why do you do that?
I don't read books. These come to me in dreams.
I'm gonna be honest. There's every single time that we do anything, any episode over the past 2 years or however long we've been doing this together, you say at least one word per episode that I don't know what it means, and I just ignore it.
Keep ignoring it. Well, one of the most valuable things you can learn about reading comprehension
Words.
is context clues. Just you can ignore.
That's
certain
what I
words.
use.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You don't need to know every word. I don't know every word. I wish I did.
Then why do you
But-
use them?
No, because I know those words. I use the words
okay.
that I know.
That makes sense.
But
I don't know
But,
that
I
either.
mean, dude, I'll be reading some shit, and it'll just hit me with a word that I've never seen before, and I'm like, I gotta stop and Google this because I don't know what the fuck that means.
A lot of the
happens
words.
all the time, dude.
So, some of the words that you use are just like the black silhouettes, like unlock characters for me. Like I've never heard this word before.
Okay, what you need to do is you need to stop. You need to stand up from your chair, take off your headphones, walk to your bathroom, open your medicine cabinet, grab the thing that says Benadryl, and you need to take all of those and then continue the podcast.
Why does the Hat Man teach me new words?
Yeah, motherfucker. How do you think you unlock the silhouettes? You have to fight the Hat Man.
Either the Hat Man or the spiders in my closet.
Oh, I was explaining to someone the other day, and I'm going to come back to Ukraine because I want to talk about it. But I was at the store, and this lady was picking it, like she was looking at energy drinks, and she was in my way because the monsters are right there, and I'm like, "Fuck, man!" I wanted to hurry up and grab something, and then she picks up a can of C4, and I'm like, "Oh no! I have to intervene." Because if you've ever drank C4 before, you fucking know that motherfucker's full of the it's got pre-workout in it. It makes your fucking skin crawl. I forget what it's called. The specific
They're called bugs. You need to dig them out.
Yeah, but dude, I like stopped the lady, and she was dressed in like a suit, and I like looked at her, and I'm like, "Excuse me, ma'am, but I don't think you want to drink that." And she's like, "Why is it bad?" And I'm like, "No, but it makes me feel like your skin wants to come out of your fucking body, dude." Like,
She probably looked at you like you were high.
no, she looked at me like I was crazy. But then the worst part is she kept walking with me, like talking to me, and I'm like, "Okay, cool. I have to go do groceries now." like no, I warned you. I like stopped you from drinking something that's gonna ruin that. Like the for the moment you drink it, those next 5-10 minutes, you're just gonna know you made a mistake.
I can't remember the last.
I'm trying to
time I
like
had
stop
energy
that.
drink.
Oh yeah, because you're weak. You don't harness the power.
You're just talking about how energy drinks, when you harness the power of them, you
Sounds like
no,
Congress.
true, but it doesn't matter if I contradict myself because I'm always right. But no, dude, I was like warning this lady, like, don't fucking grab that, and like she seemed so puzzled by why I would say that, and I really was just trying to warn her. I'm like, dude, like I've drank that shit before when I wasn't supposed to, and it was not a pleasant experience.
I took
This is great if
Pervitin
you're
on
gonna go to the
watch, and I never had a pleasant experience.
Yeah, I took Pervitin to drive across the fucking country. No.
I took Pervitin. It was only a 5-minute drive, but I had to make it.
Pervitin to take a shit.
I used Pervitin so I could take my shirt off faster, and I'm
no, but going back to Ukraine.
Heavy poop.
Heavy poop. Very cool. Is there a light poop?
yeah.
It's kind of like the male the masculine version of a heavy flow.
Oh,
Yeah.
so actually, here's a good question out to the masses.
No,
all
No.
three people.
they can't
So-
answer.
My grandma used to tell us. I think that the last time I spoke,
We talked about
this-
your grandma last time.
the last
Think
time
you
that you were
deserve it?
on here.
Yeah.
But there was a word that she used that she said was in Flemish, and I've never heard it. And I've spoken to a couple people that know Flemish, and they've said they've never heard of it. So I don't know if it's just a made up word, like dialect
could be.
thing. Because apparently in Belgium, whenever there's a TV show on that's like being hosted in a city that's like on the other side of the country, that's in Flemish or whatever, they need to have subtitles because the dialect is so different. So anyway, she used to always use this word called nubica, which meant a very small poop. And I still don't know if it's real or not. So if anybody's listening that knows Flemish, I need you to tell me if nubica is real or a made up word. That's it. Continue.
I hope it's made up because it almost makes your grandmother that much more gangster.
Dude, I love Lord of the Rings. I love Lord of the Rings, man. I love it when the elves say their little words and they.
Yeah, maybe it was just an elvish word from Lord of the Rings describes small poop. But like, you know how sometimes you go and there's just like the little balls, and you're like, I need to eat better. It's like, that's Nubica's talking.
Wow. Is that why they got invaded by the Germans?
I don't know. I didn't dive that far into the Nubica lore.
You should have. You should have.
I don't
You're
know.
asking about it now, so you want to dive deeper into it.
I don't know if Nubicas are directly related to the Germans invading Belgium, but I imagine it didn't help.
Is, man. Yeah, it definitely didn't help.
Isn't there something with like?
Ukraine.
Isn't there something with like the Fupa gap or something?
Fulda. It's the
Yeah,
Fulda
you
gap.
can fold it if it's big enough.
Oh
I-
God!
I am. Dude, I was stationed there, man. Please stop.
You're stationed at Fuba Avenue.
Yeah, dude. Cock Avenue. Fupa Avenue. Oh my god, we need to stop, dude. We need like a recock this whole podcast. No,
Anyway, back to Ukraine.
yeah, okay. Like my thing is this, dude. Like any military action, as far as I understand it, on the grand scale, it needs to almost immediately, at least how I would want it to play out, have to have some sort of concurrent or like almost immediately subsequent like effort. Like everything is to enable something else, right? That's how I feel about it. Like you do this so that you can do X so you can do Y. And I don't understand if they have a Y for the Kursk incursion. I mean, it could just be one of those like, okay, haha, we invaded your land. Now when we negotiate, if we negotiate anytime soon, you know, this is now a lot harder at the table. But I mean, I don't, that could be it. I'm not going to say that's the best course of action, but I mean, you know, I'm not a military strategist. I just have an opinion.
Thank God.
Oh, dude, fuck no. Yeah, because if I was a military strategist, your ass would be fucking waving a flag that has my face on it.
You'd be straight up drafted.
Dude, drafted my ass, dude. You'd be drafted in my army. The United States would be the Republic of Geo. The Democratic People's Republic of Geo. It's not communist.
You rule it from outside the states.
Yeah, in exile like Napoleon. Just stare at the beach.
Well, one of the other interesting things I saw coming out of Ukraine is that they have that bridge that goes to Crimea where a lot of their supplies was coming across. And the Ukrainians just kept like fucking that thing up to the point where now I think only people can come across. They can't do any supplies. And so they were having to ship all their stuff. They'd put it on trains. And then there was like, I think like a ferry that the train would drive onto. And then that would bring it over. And they just sunk the last boat, essentially, the last ferry boat. It like in its slip, so now they can no longer do that. They can no longer get supplies to Crimea, and it's sounding like Russia's just going to bail on Crimea.
That would be bad. I mean, for them, that'd be fucking horrible.
So actually, something funny is that funny is the right word, but anyway, something that I learned in TSP school was that because they were talking about like casting the future of it and all that stuff with like drones and, you know, everything going on right now and air superiority and future fights with people that also have jets and they don't just like farm dirt and poop in their spare time. And the thing that they showed us was that the difference that like glide weapons made or like cruise missiles and stuff like that made. And they were showing Ukraine over like the years. And then once Russia kind of perfected some of the glide weapons that they had and started actually using them, the amount of ground that they could cover was so much faster. And like there was kind of a standstill for quite a while until they really started to be able to launch missiles from 300 miles away that were able to do like damage to infrastructure. So they're able to specifically target, supports on a bridge from 300 miles away, blow them up, destroy the bridge, and then advance and make sure that, you know, they weren't going to get counterattacked from behind or whatever. And that's that. But
so when you say glide weapons, what do you mean exactly? Like obviously munition. It's like a cruise missile or something, right? Like
so they're missile controlled from a very long distance away. I don't know if that's the official definition of it, but like the U.S. has glide weapons that can curve around stuff because it was designed for North Korea, because the way that North Korea has their like artillery batteries placed is inside of mountains. So they have this whole thing where like they have these artillery pieces on rails. They'll open up a door in a mountain on the north side, bring the battery out, shoot it, and then go back in. So like there's all these, you know, advanced weapon systems that can curve around things or get around blockades or you know, obstacles or whatever. Even China has some where they can pass on these very large missiles between controllers. So you can launch one, send it to another guy who can take control, send it to another guy who can take control, and go on until, either you strike a target or the fuel runs out. And
That's nuts.
I
That's
guess
crazy.
the fuel is pretty decent, actually, depending on what it is. But like shooting a missile from 300 miles away really isn't that unheard of. Even I think like HIMARS can shoot somewhere around like 300 kilometers, which is probably like 160 miles or something like that. Let me see actually. But yeah, there's I think 186 miles. So even with HIMARS, right? Like you have the default thing to put into HIMARS rockets or whatever they call them is a 12-digit grid. So you're talking about sub 1 meter grid for rockets that are being shot 150 miles away, potentially 180 miles away to hit a target, which is way better than like artillery where mortars at least, because when you start shooting them further, you have to put bigger charges on them. So you go up to like charge 4 and stuff like that. And they're not as accurate because it's kind of like throwing a football as hard as you can. Like it's not going to be as accurate as if you take your time and aim and do all that stuff, throw it at like a reasonable strength. So
just pull Tom Hanks into it and have him hitting him on the base plate and hucking him.
Yeah, exactly. Well, my favorite part about that too is just, I know that this isn't what actually happened, but it's kind of the joke is like when he started shooting a 45 at a tank randomly and then it blew up.
Yeah, that's 2 world wars right there.
Yeah. The 45 is not with.
Yeah, it's a secret weapon.
I hit the Sabo rounds.
That's kind of one of my the things that like if somebody said like you can have anything right now for free, you don't need to pay for it, gun wise. The M45 MEUSOC would be one of those things that I would pick.
Why?
They're sweet. I don't care.
It's a Marine. No one said that to be a good decision.
Raw.
Oh, brother. Semper Fi. 1987 to 1988. Merchant Marine. Semper Fi.
2 tours.
The all caps form submission followed by Jim in parentheses or in quotations like Hammer Smith USMC 67 to 68. It's always like 1 or 2 years. I don't know. I just think they're cool. Kind of like the MP7. I think it's cool. They're apparently not very good, but I just think that it's cool.
No, I was just curious. Like I wasn't trying to hate on it. It's just
it sounded like you were though.
I'm trying to hate on it. Fuck you.
Well, yeah, you also declined.
Dude.
You also declined that the M14 is the best weapon to kill aliens with.
Yeah. Why would you?
Why would anybody think that?
I don't know.
I guess so. I guess that's a good enough reason. Fucking. But yeah, I don't know what the fucking Ukrainians are gonna do with it. I mean,
I would say that it hasn't looked like anybody.
They're probably gonna kill aliens.
Yeah. No, they're just equipping their dudes with that Marine Corps pistol that nobody wanted to keep around.
Could you imagine? Someone's gonna assassinate Putin, and it's gonna be with an M45. It's gonna hit him with a 45. It's gonna hit him with a 145 slug, and fucking all of Moscow goes up into flames.
There's an A1, so obviously it was good enough to improve. Dude, in service 1985 to 2022.
What is?
The M45.
They still had them in 2022?
I mean, it does take the Marines a little while to wisen up.
Jesus. Now what do you have, the M17?
M18s.
Is that still a P320?
It's the P320 compact.
Oh, man, that's so shitty. Everyone got hoodwinked by that motherfucker.
You know what? I have
But you know what? It's what you deserve for carrying a pistol.
I have a 320 compact frame and slide. I need to still finish building the rest of it, but I don't mind it.
It's gonna kill you.
I don't mind the gun. I don't think that
Gio, you don't think that every infantryman needs to carry a pistol? Oh,
brother. Fuck, man, no.
I do,
You're
just
giving
because it'd
me-
be funny.
Yeah, so I could lose it and fucking
Exactly.
rip the Serpa
That's why
or
it's
whatever
funny.
they give it to you. Because they don't give it to you in a Safari Land. They'll give it to you in a Serpa on a drop leg, just like all the Force Pro M9s were. And then
I
you
just shot myself.
No, we issued now.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah,
It was
the
a mix. It
M18s
was a
have like a
grab
whole
bag.
Safari Land thing.
See, the thing is at least in the units I was in, handguns existed for one reason and one reason only, and that's for force protection when we had to go between Hohenfels to Graf and back. And so technically speaking, because you were leaving post, you needed some sort of force protection. So like three NCOs would just have an M9.
Dude.
Wasn't even loaded.
Here.
They had ammo for it, but it was there. That's it.
Can your M9 do this? This is the Wikipedia for the M45 MEUSOC that a Marine may shoot as many as 80,000 round training cycle and subsequent deployment. And it said that there are frames in the USMC inventory that have had as many as 500,000 rounds fired through them. That's better than like the Larry Vickers Wilson Combat 1911.
Yeah, but those things are probably so bore out.
Yeah, but the M9 has won the Gulf War, so fuck you.
Oh yeah, I don't care about that.
Yeah,
oh wow, we have more sand now. Woohoo!
Motherfucker, you love sand. Your stupid fucking gun is painted in the color of sand. You love sand,
dude. M44s, Panama, Somalia, Afghanistan. Those are like the places to go.
So nothing we won, right?
Well, no, you can't say that.
I don't know. You of all people can't say that.
I love how there's an X. Oh no, this is decommissioned. They really just crossed out the USMC. That's funny.
That's kind of cool.
The strike through pistol.
Why are the Marines so weird about like having their branding on something? Like the Army doesn't cross off whatever the fuck they like dermo if it said Army on it. I don't think, but the Marines. I knew someone that they got surplus like Marine issued boots with the EGA on it, and the EGA had to be like burned off or something. Like they had to cross it off. It was so weird. He was explaining to me, he's like, "Yeah, no, we can't wear. They can't distribute the EGA." And I'm like, I understand what you're saying, but you're fucking weird.
They don't want any posers. They don't want LARPers.
The entire branch is posers. The entire branch is fucking. I don't even know, man. I'm just talking shit about the Marines for no reason.
The Marine Corps is basically the Foreign Legion for all of Latin America.
Oh my god! Get your papers here.
Yeah,
I was hoping you were going to say the Foreign Legion was like Ranger Battalion.
That too.
That's like my favorite one. Of course. Oh, fuck, man. I'm like so just listless this podcast. I don't know where I'm going. Someone else is driving the car right now. That it is.
You're just sitting in the driver's seat and somebody else is driving.
Yeah.
It's it's hard, right? Because one of the things, the main topic we were talking about is revolution and how that kicks off, and everybody's got their flavor of gripes and grievances. Everybody's got their flavor of what they want to see next. And the truth is that like as a whole, I don't think anybody has a plan or a roadmap to get from where we are now to where they want to go, let alone one that's congruent with like other people in their area. And so I think that it's kind of like a wash at this point in time. I think there needs to be a catalyst, that a unifying catalyst before people can start making decisions to do anything.
It'll never be something that comes at our level.
At 100%.
It'll never be. I think that's something guys need to kind of learn. And it's super shitty, but you said it earlier. Like everyone thinks they're going to be the main character, but you're 99% of the time you're going to be a player in someone else's game. That's just what it is. The people who can make those types of decisions and have the sway and the resources and the money are not listening to this podcast. I wouldn't think. Maybe they are. Who knows?
But we talked about that last time we chatted. It's like the money too. I mean, you have dudes trying to scrounge money together for ammo or to get the latest gear versus like coming, like filling their coffers for a long fight. Like there's,
Yeah.
I don't see the finances there to support any sort of endeavor at our level. Like you said, it's going to be way higher up with people that have the political savviness and the funding and the connections that actually get to make those decisions and decide when things start and what things happen and the direction things are headed.
If you don't go to those types of fundraisers and parties where they expect you to make a very significant donation, you are not a player in the game. And like it, if you've ever been the type of person that does go to those sorts of things, you kind of understand what I'm talking about. But so here's my little experience from the island, right? So they, there's
the
always
island these
fundraisers
days.
and all sorts of yes. So there's all the rich, the hoity-toities, the fucking influential people, because they're always going to be the people with wealth, your business owners, your politicians, and they're always courting each other for whatever the fuck. But they hold these fundraisers and they have these groups and they all scratch each other's backs, right? But it's if you can't go to a fundraiser where there's no like, basically they have these parties and the expectation is you're going to donate something. Like it's a tacit implication. For some of them, you actually have to donate. And dude, if you can't like drop a couple thousand for like on a whim just for a party, like you're probably not in the financial straits that you would want to be. Because these people can do that. They go to these parties and they'll just drop a few $1,000s on like bullshit raffles, and then like they'll get whatever the fuck they get, and they just like give it away. Like it's nothing to them. They just do it. It's a vulgar display of wealth, and I think people underestimate the scale of money you would need to do something like a revolution, and you would need that vulgar display of wealth. It's very like you need to be able to like fix problems with money. Because
that's what I was going to say. You need to be able to buy politicians. You need to be able to completely outfit military units. You need to be able to buy like the supplies in order to maintain a logistics network.
Dude, you need to be able to walk up to someone and put a bag full of money in front of them and be like, "You are not going to show up to work ever again, and you're going to work for me now. And here's your fucking down payment. Or you're not going to do this ever again."
Isn't that what we've done all throughout South America and all these other places?
No, it's exactly what it is. But it's one of those things. Like if you don't have that scale of finances, like you are not going.
You're not a player.
Yeah, you're really. I mean, you can be a player, but not at the scale that you want to be. You're not George Washington.
Well, at that point, you're just playing in somebody else's game. Like if you want to be playing the game yourself, you have to have exorbitant amounts of cash.
Yeah.
Everything beyond that, if you're not playing at that level, then you're playing in somebody else's game. And
I'm not saying this as like a disparaging thing. I'm not saying this
but you have to be willing to accept that somebody's principles and somebody's vision and everything isn't necessarily going to line up perfectly with what you have. So you're going to have to make concessions in terms of what you're willing to stand for or what you're willing to join up for.
Yep. And it's just curious. I mean, you see it in, you see it in some of these groups where you'll have a really radical wing and like eventually they kind of get pushed to the wayside or they get disavowed as like the main group's goals start to kind of coalesce. And then eventually you're just the last dude holding a gun, and you really don't want to be the last dude holding a fucking gun.
Do you remember that old video from I think it might have been on Albino Black Sheep or its own website called The Ultimate Showdown? It was like a song. I think that Mr. Rogers and Abraham Lincoln ended up fighting in the end of it.
What?
No.
Yeah.
What is it called?
You gotta find this.
It was called The Ultimate Showdown. It's from like 2000. It's like pre-YouTube days.
YouTube was around in 2007.
Yeah, but it wasn't like widely used. The Ultimate Showdown was. Oh,
it says Mr. Rogers was the victor.
Yeah.
Ultimate Showdown.
Oh, it was released in 2005. The end of 2005.
Oh, okay. So Mr. Rogers fights who?
everyone fights each other. That's why it's called the Ultimate Showdown. But in the end, Mr. Rogers and Abraham Lincoln ended up fighting, and then Mr. Rogers won.
He killed Abraham Lincoln.
Well, the characters in
Did
this
he shoot him
are
in the head?
Godzilla, Batman,
Oh.
Shaquille O'Neal, Aaron Carter, Abraham Lincoln, Optimus Prime, Jackie Chan, Indiana Jones, a Care Bear, Chuck Norris, Gandalf,
Quite the
Benito
lineup.
Mussolini,
It happens.
RoboCop, Darth Vader, a bunch of people.
That cardigan will get you every time.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson. I like the old.
Really? At that time?
Yeah, I like the old things of saying that Mr. Rogers was like covered in tattoos, and that's why he'd only ever wear sweaters.
Yeah, no.
He
He was like a
I
Navy
like-
SEAL or something.
Yeah, he was
He was like a Marine sniper in Vietnam, and he killed a million people.
God, no. I wish that was true, but I don't think that is true. Who do you think's going to win the election? I
Yeah,
haven't been keeping
45.
track of it. Fuck me, man. The most cryptic message. The most cryptic message that gets the podcast banned. Yeah, who's going to win the election? I don't know, man. This cool gun I found. What the fuck?
45 use.
I cannot continue this conversation if I wish to come back to the United States in anything except a pair of handcuffs and a bag over my head.
No, in terms of the election, I don't know, man. I mean, I feel like we haven't gotten a ton of information in terms of like.
I don't even, dude. I'm out of the fucking loop. I mean, by design though. I'm not really. I don't look into the American politics thing as much anymore. I've been busy most of it, and then it's funny how great life can be when you don't have someone yapping in your ear about how fucking horrible everything is.
How can
It's
anything be
exhausting.
horrible? We have Taco Bell.
Yeah, true.
That's what makes everything.
I don't have
great.
Taco Bell here. I wish I had Taco Bell here.
Dude.
I just make my own quesadillas.
If somebody said, "Hey, would you move to the Cayman Islands for a better life?" and I said, "Oh, you don't."
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I also like Taco Bell. I miss it.
What's your ideal Taco Bell order? I'm taking notes.
Oh shit, dude! I couldn't even tell you. I know at least there's
Mexican
at least
pizza.
one. There's at least one chicken quesadilla in there.
Yeah, that's the base.
Doritos
of every
Locos
order.
Tacos. Yeah. It depends. Sometimes I like a crunch wrap. Sometimes I just like a beefy 5-layer.
Nothing
Baja
matters unless you
Blast.
pair it with a Baja Blast. Yeah.
Yeah, the Baja Blast, of course.
Apparently, they're coming out with a
Which,
Baja
by the way,
Blast gelato.
They're coming out with a Baja Blast injection, and when you put it into your bloodstream,
Baja
You
Blast
just-
Botox.
no, it gives you superpowers, or it kills you instantly.
Yeah,
But you don't
Like
know
Pan-
until it's happened.
it's either Baja Blast or Panera Lemonade. You don't know which one you're gonna get. Either way, it gets injected into you, and you either get.
Dude, I missed
superpowers-
out. I missed out on the Panera Lemonade. I missed out, and it's tragic. And people were telling me like, "No, you can't drink it. It kills people." Like, yeah, that's why I want to drink it, dude. Fuck, man, that stuff's got to be wild. Imagine like making a beverage, and then like the word on the street is it kills people. Like, I don't know, man. That's gotta be going through people's heads when they try like drugs like fentanyl. Like, I don't know, man. It's gotta be kind of tempting, but
You got to
No,
check the
every-
height.
I gotta at least look at it.
Well, that's the whole
limited
thing
dry.
too. With like in Russia, how they have like the crocodile drug or crocodile or whatever. Doesn't it? I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
that when you take it the first time,
It kills you. It fucks you up, dude.
it automatically decreases your life expectancy from a year to the point that you took it. At least on whatever like
Yeah.
YouTube documentary in 2009 that I watched about it.
Yeah, more
But-
likely.
It's like there's still people that are like, yeah, I'll try it.
I mean, they're in Russia. They're probably like, "Get me the fuck out of here."
Well, the thing with the Panera bread is like, dude, like every food in the world will kill someone at some point. Like peanut butter kills a fuck ton of people a year. You don't see me not eating peanut butter, you know? Like maybe the people who drink the
I
Panera
only
lemonade
minus the
weak.
Panera bread fentanyl.
Well, what I'm saying is, what if the people who died from the Panera lemonade were just weak, and like we're all depriving ourselves because of the weakest links in society when
Just
we could
natural
be
selection.
when we could just be drinking the mighty elixir of productivity.
when we could be drinking the nectar of the gods, known as Panera lemonade and sea sounds.
Dude, it could be fucking productivity fuel. It could just like it's funny. It's like there's certain things. Like the right is all about Zen right now. And it's like, okay, yeah, of course, nicotine, it's a productivity drug. Like nicotine and caffeine, those are your I need to get work done. Anything past that is I need to invade a country, or like it's just degenerate. But or both. It's almost always both, but fuck. I don't know where I was going with that.
I mean, at this point, I think that we all need to like hang it up. We'll go get Taco Bell. You can not get Taco Bell because you're an
I'll
islander.
think about Taco
Because you
Bell.
live out, you live Oconus.
I will contemplate Taco Bell.
Yeah,
I'll mail you some.
I'm gonna
I'll
live
rotate it.
stream me eating Taco Bell for you, so you can see how good that it is. Because as soon as we hang up here, I'm leaving to go get Taco Bell. I'm
gonna rotate Taco Bell in my mind.
Yeah, can you rotate a chicken quesadilla in your mind? And
You know what the
pizza
worst
here and
thing
come back?
about here is no one makes good Mexican food. I've yet to have Mexican food that wows me. I don't know what it is about the Mexican food in the US, but that shit is fucking. Even Taco Bell is like killer. But like Chipotle would be killer. And then all the real Mexican joints from where I used to live were all great. And then I eat Mexican food here and it's just not right. There's something wrong. It's like how if you eat Chinese food without MSGs in it, it's not right. It's missing. It's missing what makes it good. I know it's bad for me. I don't care.
They should try making Cayman Island Chipotle with MSG in it.
Oh, I'm gonna do that.
You should call up Uncle Roger.
Oh, I think they hung up the spur. They were building an Olive Garden here, and I think they fucking canceled it.
They were building an Olive Garden in the Cayman Islands.
Fuck yeah. Dude, people were freaking out about it because they were so
How are they
excited.
going to get
I
that
wasn't.
many breadsticks when you have it around you?
Motherfucker, the airplane.
Wow, man, just really seeing behind the curtain there.
Airplane.
Well, I'm pretty
The
sure
fix is
Chipotle is a
probably the
franchise, so you could start a Chipotle in the Cayman Islands and make it really good.
Yeah, but I don't want to live under the Chipotle law.
You can make dozens of dollars there.
Dozens. Their money's more valuable in the US dollar. It's fucking wacky. I get paid more, even though the number is the same.
What?
I don't know where I'm going with this, dude. So I get paid the same amount that I was making in the US, like the same number, but because it's in Caymanian dollars instead of US dollars, it's like a
So basically monopoly money, and
bonus.
it doesn't equate the same as the US dollar.
no, it's more better.
It's
I make more money, and I pay less taxes. Yes.
But how far does it go? I guess is the question, right?
It
Well, you
goes
don't have
very
Taco
far
Bell,
once I
so who
convert it to
cares?
US dollar. That's true.
Couldn't even spell
Olive Garden. No Olive Garden either. We don't have anything here, man. We have Burger King.
I probably
And
haven't
Subway.
eaten Olive Garden since like 2007.
Good for
The
you.
fact that you can name a date like really says something. I couldn't even tell you the last time I had it.
I just made up a number because we were talking about like 2007 through 2000, actually like 2005 through 2008 because of like old YouTube and the Ultimate Showdown and stuff.
I think it was for me. It was like 05, 06 for sure.
I had Olive Garden like last year, maybe. I don't know.
You've had Olive Garden in the last year, and you live in the Cayman Islands, and me and Pete haven't had Olive Garden in at least 15 to 20 years. And we live
40
I live
years
like right
combined.
down, yeah, 40 years combined. I live like right down the road from one.
I don't know what to tell you, man. That's just how the game goes, man.
I guess I'm packing up the old fam and taking them to Olive Garden.
Well, with a
guess
name
so.
like Gio, you got to get that. You got to get that
Italian.
Italian fix.
Yeah.
He's not even Italian though.
I know.
No.
It's a
I
fake
know.
Italian name.